Welcome everybody in to the Chicagoland Speedway for some more Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series action. We're back at you this fine Tuesday evening. I'm Austin Edstrom, standing alongside Brian Britt, and Austin Derbyshire is behind the production booth as always. Brian, I gotta say, this is one of my favorite racetracks. It hurts my heart that we no longer run at this place in real life, and I am praying for this place to come back. What do you think of the Chicagoland Speedway, and how excited are you to get to watch some racing at this old Fable ground?
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. This is one of my favorite tracks that's not Iowa. This is probably my second favorite track on the service. I got to be honest. I mean, just multi-groove racing here. You can run the top, you can run the bottom. Of course, you don't really want to run the middle in 3 and 4. There's a pretty big bump there, but very much enjoy this mile and a half. And I want to see this track come back in NASCAR as well. I just think it's really a stellar racetrack for sure. Can't wait to see what these guys are able to do out here. Keys to the race, though. Let's get into that and see exactly what is it going to take to win here tonight. Of course, the first key is going to be don't slide the rear tires. That's going to be very, very important. It sounds like if you slide those rear tires, you're going to end up having much greater fall off on the run or towards the end of the run. Of course, our second key is going to be clean air is king. With the new update to these trucks, clean air has become way more important. And of course, the third key is going to be careful on pit road entry. This is quite a tricky place to get down to pit road, especially with that bump in 3 and 4. Could very much make it very squirrely coming to pit road.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult coming down to pit road, and you gotta think the racetracks that have more tire wear, it's a little bit harder to get down to pit road because you got to use a little bit more of the racetrack. You got to stay on the banking a little bit longer, and that just kind of breeds bad situations coming out of that corner if you got somebody tucked under your rear bumper. We're gonna move into our broadcast picks real quick. I'm going with Keegan Sabilo. I think he's going to win this thing hands down. I mean, I think he's got it figured out. Typically the short track guy, but I think he's going to bring his talents to the mile and a half and bring this one home.
That's interesting that you say that. I'm gonna go with the man I picked for the last 2 races. I'm going with James Harris. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
I've gotten it right in the first 2 races. Can he go 3 for 3? I think he can. Looks like Darby is picking, I do believe, the 67 of Kalen Mitchell. I love this pick. Kalen has been really, really looking like a shining star here as of late.
Man. To be fair, those are 3 really good picks. Like you said, Kalen Mitchell has been really showing up. 121-degree track temp, by the way. That is hot. It's going to be a hot one today. You're going to see some tire saving coming into play. But Kalen Mitchell, great pick from Darby. I like it. It's a new one that's shown up the last couple weeks that has really, really improved and put himself up towards the front. And your pick, man, like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What in the world has James Harris found at the beginning of this season that everybody else is missing? Because he has been lights out quick. Maybe shouldn't have won at Nashville, but he put himself up towards the front and got it done whenever it mattered. And, well, he's won both of the races so far this season.
That he has. I mean, and it sounds like we got a little insider stuff going on here with Keegan Sabilo, though. I mean, you've been giving him some tips and tricks there, Edstrom?
Well, he might have asked me for a little bit of mile and a half, or a couple mile and a half tips. That's my thing, right? He's the short track guy. I hate short tracks. I'll be honest with you. I do not like him, but he asked me for a little bit of help. So I gave him a little bit of my knowledge on the mile and a half. And look at that. Look who's on the pole. It's Keegan Sabilo. Yeah. It's almost like I know what I'm talking about. That makes me feel good right there.
I mean, it's got to. I mean, it's got to give you a warm and fuzzy feeling, right?
It does feel good. He got it by 7/100 of a second. I told him how to run qualifying, so I'm going to take a little bit of credit for that one right there. Nathan Meyer in 3rd. John Ledger 4th place on the outside of row number 2. Excuse me, Ryan Jalek in 5th, Andrew Hale lining up in 6th with James Harris in 7th, Tyler Meeks lining up in the 8th place spot with Cody Hemingway in 9th, and Kalen Mitchell rounds out your top 10.
Gar Snyder is going to be starting in 11th place, George Young in 12th, John Lucido in 13th, Stephen Witt in 14th, Brian High 15th, Harley Barletta in 16th, Jason Taylor 17th, James Loveland, who was really fast last week, starts in 18th, Blake Tidwell in 19th, Brad Thacker 20th, Robert Wynn 21st, Nick Jaboski 22nd, and Russ Kilgore rounds out this 23-car field.
Man, it's going to be a fun one. I love this racetrack. I absolutely love it. I mean, one of the best ones on the circuit, and I cannot believe, well, I say on the circuit. It's not on the circuit. They have taken my baby away. Hopefully, whenever the street course moves, we can come back to this beautiful mile and a half.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I saw some videos
awesome.
that it is pretty much in, I'd say, race ready condition. So I mean, this track is not like been torn down or anything. So there still is hope. But definitely excited to see what these guys can do. I mean, we got a really big, really good top three right now. I mean, you got Carter Casey, Nathan Meyer. I know Casey was your pick, I do believe, last week, if I'm not mistaken. I think Casey's he might be an underdog in this race too.
Yeah, he was kind of underwhelming last week. I expected that to be a racetrack that Casey would thrive at, but it just didn't really fit into his wheelhouse. Now, I want to, obviously he's qualified second, so I'm kind of hitting a change up here. It's pretty easy. He's got the speed this week. But this track kind of fits more into what we've seen him run fast at. We've seen him be fast at North Wilkesboro, old, worn-out surface. We've seen him be fast at Darlington, very old, worn-out surface. I think Chicagoland is relatively close to those. It's not right up to the same limit as Darlington is, but you definitely have to conserve your tires and keep that truck under you. And I think Casey's one of the best in the field at doing that.
Yeah, I think we'll see that high line kind of start to come into play a little bit later in this race as well. The high line is the way to get around this place, I think, in the longer runs. Now, of course, conserving tires might not be the same thing, maybe running on the bottom, of course, the first half of the run, but we'll have to see. I mean, from what I've heard, tire fall off in this race is going to be atrocious.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty bad. It'll be over a second pretty quick, which is good. I think that makes for good racing. And we're about to find out as the iRacing Pace Car is about to pull off, coming out of turn number 4. Keegan Sabilo and the Mack Tools. Man, I almost forgot what the trucks were called. They are Chevrolet Silverados. But the Mack Tools Chevrolet Silverado number 77 of Keegan Sabilo coming down to the green flag. And we are racing here from the Chicagoland Speedway.
What a start from Nathan Meyer right there. I mean, he just got launched before Keegan could even press the gas in a lot of ways. So, and he kind of gave him a little bit of a bump draft into turn 1 as we see Nathan Meyer rockets up to second place. He's able to get clear of Carter Casey. We see, of course, I do believe the 0-2 of Ryan Jalek as well, trying to make a move, trying to enter the top 5. Looks like he's successfully done that.
Nathan Meyer to the inside of your pole sitter. Side by side for the race lead. Nathan Meyer from third had a heck of a start. Who's going to lead lap number 1? Coming across the line, the top 2 in the championship last year. Just about a dead heat. Coming across lap number 1, Sabilo leads it by 0.06 of a second, but coming down into turn number 1, Nathan Meyer drives it in just a little bit deeper, and Sabilo's settling for second, not burning up those tires too quick.
That's interesting, man. I think this is going to be a fine line between, clean air is king. We know that. I mean, so Nathan, I think, is really fighting hard to get that clean air. We know he's also a good long-run contender. So we'll see how this kind of plays out. But Keegan always has been very good at conserving his tires. So what's going to be more important, clean air or trying to take it easy?
To be honest with you, if it was a colder track, I would say the clean air. I think that is the dominant thing. What hurts your tires later is getting in the dirty air, or on a colder racetrack is getting into dirty air because you just can't turn. The problem here, it's 120 degrees on the track. That's going to heat up the tires like crazy, whether you're in dirty air or clean air. And in fact, it might hurt you a little bit more in clean air because you're rotating better through the corner and driving in with more speed. So
we talk about them rears.
It's a little weird.
That could slide them rears. You're right. I mean, I think that's a good point. Is Carter Casey attack 3 wide? James Harris on the march to the front. Man, Harris, he is just looking like a new driver this season. Just
Carter
absolutely.
Casey. What a run coming off at turn number 2, getting to the inside of Nathan Meyer. That outside line through 1 and 2 is super, super quick, man. You can make up so much speed down the back straightaway. Carter Casey from 3rd to 1st in a lap.
That's one thing I love about turn 1 and 2 is so many options. You could really run the bottom, you could run the top, but the top is going to be the best option considering how concave that backstretch is.
It's a weird one. It's definitely not a back straightaway. It's definitely a back stretch. Back bend. I mean, it's very slight all the way down the back straightaway.
I love it because you're able to get such speed down that straightaway. I mean, you got to be careful, though, that you don't tag that wall. But Carter Casey, new leader. As, of course, we see James Harris battling with Nathan Meyer. Harris has that preferred groove in 1 and 2. Looks like he's going to get that pass completed. I just got to say, though, I don't think Harris is saving it all. I think he's pushing it a little harder than I probably would. See a battle for 6th. Ryan Jalick, Kalen Mitchell.
I'd say the top 2 are honestly pushing a little bit too hard. James Harris and Carter Casey are both pushing away from the field. Meyer's typically a guy that pushes maybe just a little over the edge early, not a ton. I mean, he won the championship last year. But typically he's on that side of the fence, and he's saving more than Carter Casey and James Harris. So I'm a little hesitant on the top 2. Got to say, I love the paint schemes that we're seeing up towards the front of the field. The bright colors popping at you. Look at that Reese's peanut butter cups, bright orange. Even the yellow on James Harris's number 55. He's got some black in there to make it a little bit darker. But, man, I just love the bright paint schemes. Even the Mac Tools machine in 4th with Keegan Sabilo. I mean, these guys bringing the heat week in, week out.
Yeah, definitely love the look of these race cars. One driver not doing too hot right now. Ryan Jalick has fallen back to 8th place. Of course, I do believe he started up towards the top 5. He had entered the top 5. He's starting to fall back. Just got passed by Cody Hemingway. Well, looks like he's going to fight back a little bit on the high side here. But Kalen Mitchell, our producer's pick, has worked his way up into the 6th place position. But one thing I noticed from James Harris,
10th to 6th this early, man, he's just been so quick.
Yeah, no, he's been really good every week. And like I said, I think it's going to be only a matter of time before he gets up in the lead. But I was talking about James Harris. If we watch him, he's being very aggressive right now. Now, look at his lap times. They're falling off a lot more than a lot of the drivers around him. Last time by 31.912. Now, I've been watching him go down on that apron on the front stretch. I got to say, I do not like that because I think that burns the tires up a little bit more. I think he's stopping this time around. But I think with this new truck update, it seems like you used to be able to do that a lot easier and it not cost as much tire wear-wise. But I think it might be burning them up a little bit more.
It's weird. I don't feel like it's not like it heats the tire up in that moment, but it prevents it from cooling down. You know, you're going around that big bend on the front straightaway, and it just allows you to cool your tires down because it's essentially a very long straightaway, barely putting any wheel into it. But you tug it down to the apron like that, and it just prevents that brief moment in time to cool your tires. So I feel like if you do it, as Andrew Hale makes a big move, I feel like if you do it sparingly, like if you're making a move like this, it's okay, 1 or 2 laps in a row. But doing it lap after lap could be a little hurtful.
Well, James Harris is falling like crazy right now. But we just watched the 44, Stephen Witt. He had an issue there, but Harris just got passed by Meyer, and it looks like Harris is starting to struggle. I mean, lap time-wise, he's the slowest. I do believe he is the slowest in the top 10 except for the 44 right now. Looking on board with Harris, he looks like he is just he's fighting that race car.
Not too surprising. I mean, I'm a little surprised because it is only 12 laps into the race, right? We expected there to be heavy tire wear, but I didn't expect a very loose condition coming until, I don't know, lap 20, lap 25, lap 30. I mean, you typically don't see it until a little bit longer. But, man, this new truck model at these 1.5 miles, you've really got to finesse these things. If you drive it a little bit too hard, that right rear is going to be gone, especially at a racetrack like Chicago.
And looking at the way he's driving it, it almost looks like he's having a dirt track a little bit. A little bit of counter steering going on in that race car, or that truck, I should say. And you can see Keegan Sabilo starting to reel him in. And clearly Keegan's got the right idea. But look at John Legger also looking pretty quick as well up in the top 5. So a lot of these drivers doing well right now. I think this is when we're going to start to see the guys that have been taking care of their stuff really start to surge ahead.
It comes earlier here than other racetracks, that is for sure, because it is happening quickly. Oh, Legger.
Big hit on the wall. Legger definitely going to have a little bit of damage on his right side. Not too bad. Yeah, you can see right there the scrapes along the right side, so hopefully that doesn't hurt him too bad, but he's definitely going to be possibly. This is a big aero track, so that could definitely hurt him. As you can see, Andrew Hale fighting with Ryan Jalick right now for that 8th place position right behind Legger.
And, something like that tells me that Legger was probably struggling a little bit with the tire wear at that point, too. Maybe he was pushing a little bit too hard. Andrew Hale is in the fence coming through 3 and 4. Oh. My word. And you can tell all these guys are starting to struggle. Man, big move down the front straightaway. Tyler Meeks. Nervous moment down the front straightaway. George Young just barely scooting through.
Yeah, I thought Young was getting ready to cream the rear end of that.
Side by side for the lead. Nathan Myers to the inside of Carter Casey, coming down the backstretch. Meyer with a huge run out of nowhere. Like I said, the tire wear's coming in way sooner than we expected. Meyer saved for 10, 15 laps, and he's already passing Casey, who looked like he was storming through. I think the tire saving is the way to go here. 120 degrees out on the track, and it's just as hot behind these guys' heads, racing for the race lead. Carter Casey trying to hang on to the right rear. Gets a little loose by the wall, not able to do it. I think Meyer's going to clear him coming through 1 and 2.
And just to put a little bit of perspective into how much these tires are wearing right now, just the lap times. Last time by, Nathan Meyer, 32.937. His fastest lap was a 31.5. That's a second and a half over 15 laps. That is absolutely crazy how much tire wear we're seeing right now. So I don't know if we make a fuel run. I mean, the fuel window tonight is 48 laps around that mark. I really think these guys are going to come in before that.
Well, you said 48. If it's 48, I agree with you 100% because this race has to be pit stopped twice, if that's the case.
Yeah.
So I would probably split it at 37. That'd be splitting it in about thirds. 37, 38 is probably whenever you're going to see these guys start coming down pit road. I imagine the guys struggling that underestimated how much tire wear there was going to be tonight will start coming down a little bit earlier than that.
Oh, it's going to be a long way to go until we get to that 37. I mean, 20 laps we got to go still, and these guys are already falling off a tremendous amount.
Meyer sideways. Holy
he's drifting it. He's drifting it. He's having to drift the race. This is like these guys are on a dirt track in Chicago right now.
They're pushing. They are pushing for everything I got. And this place is slick, and they're sliding all over the place. Meyer can't even find the bottom of the racetrack. I mean, he's struggling, and he's in the clean air, man. I mean, he's still pushing. We're only 18 laps in. I think he's probably pushing a little bit too early, too. He's going to fall back into the clutches of Carter Casey, back to Keegan Savilo after they cool off their tires.
Keegan's the one that really looks like he's the most comfortable at the moment. He's passing by James Harris at the moment, taking over third possibly.
I'm not surprised.
Lap time-wise, though, he is the fastest on the racetrack. You're not surprised. Did you teach him how to save tires here as well? I mean, this is like a...
He might be doing exactly what I told him. So just let it happen naturally. It's great.
Dang.
This is a great show. Keegan Sabilo passing for third.
It seems like he's having a tough time actually getting the pass completed, though.
Yep. That top side, man, it's tough. He's going to need a mistake out of Harris. I told him to run the bottom like that for a little while, and we'll see what happens a little bit later.
Well, 20 laps in, you can see, of course, some battling further back. I do believe that's James Loveland attacking Harley Barletta. That's for the 11th place position. So a lot of battling further back here. And a lot of guys still trying to work their way up into the top 10.
And the thing is, the tire saving is just going to be, I mean, I guess it's a little bit less massive because you're only running to 37, right? You're not trying to get to 50 or something to make it a one-stopper in a 100-lap race. So maybe you want to push a little bit harder. And I think that might have suckered a couple people in, knowing that they were going to pit a little bit early to run a little bit too hard at the beginning. And we're still seeing it, man. Nathan Meyer sideways. These guys are all battling back here side by side. I mean, nothing is settled out on the racetrack. Just about contact through 3 and 4. Loveland, Tyler Meeks skating it, coming off at turn number 4. He saves it down the front straightaway.
What a save from Tyler Meeks. Surprised he kept that thing together. You see Loveland in the midst of a battle, I do believe, with the 44 of Stephen Witt. This is for the 10th place position. Harley Barletta, of course, drafting his way up. And here comes, you see Hale as well attacking Ryan Jellick here for that 7th place spot. So battling all over the racetrack. Even though these guys are essentially on ice, they are battling on ice.
That's why we're battling, because we've got some people that push their tires a little bit too hard. We're seeing them slip through the field. We're seeing the tire savers come to the front. Absolutely love that we still have tire degradation on iRacing, even though it's gone in real life. But we're about to see right there, the 77. He's found 3rd place. James Harris has started struggling even heavier. That outside line, it's quick, but it burns off your tires a whole hell of a lot faster. So you've just got to save down at the bottom until it's finally let those tires loose. And I think Harris moved up a little bit too quick.
And I think it's those rears is burning up the most as well. And that's what these guys seem to be struggling with, is those rear tires. So it's definitely unfortunate to see that 55 already struggling here. But Cody Hemingway, a driver that I really don't know very well, and that Black & Decker machine seems to be very good on the long run as well. If he can continue to get some track position, he may be a contender. Andrew Hale seems like his car.
Man.
Yeah, he is, and Andrew Hale seems to be coming. His car seems to be coming to life as well. 33.3. That was one of the faster laps in the top 10. As Harris falls back into the clutches of the 10 machine.
Hemingway getting by on the inside of the racetrack. Harris trying again to use that outside, but again, he's been hurting those tires. Can he hang on? Able to do it out of 2 that time. How heavy does Hemingway side draft him down the back? Not at all. Just kind of giving it back to him, not fighting it too hard. Not wanting to abuse those tires because it is still blistering hot out there on the track. 118 degrees. Nathan Meyer feeling it. Coming out of turn number 4. He just about lost it. Coming down the front straightaway twice in 1 lap. I saw that 24 get sideways, and that's going to show up in the lap times.
Yeah, I think everybody right now is having to earn every position they have. I mean, really earn it. I mean, this is not easy. These trucks are a handful at the moment. I'm shocked that these guys are making the laps that they are. We're falling off now almost 2 seconds. And we still have, I do believe, if people pit like that you think they will, they still have 10 laps to make.
And these guys are struggling. Somebody has just come down pit road. So
yeah,
somebody was really struggling.
And that's Robert Wynn.
Yeah, heavy damage on the right front.
Yep, some rear damage or some side damage on the right. But definitely, you could just tell. I think a lot of these drivers did not realize how difficult this was going to be, what the conditions were going to be. I think that's what's causing all of this. It's just how hot it is. I mean, we usually don't see heat like this in Chicago.
Nathan Meyer moved up top, trying to find some speed. Gaining a little bit down the front straightaway. Waiting for my timing and scoring to update, but he lost 0.2 of a second on that lap to Sabilo in third, 1/10 to Casey in second. So that top side maybe not working out for Meyer too well, not through 3 and 4. 1 and 2, I think it's a really, really good move. 3 and 4, it's just extending the corner way too much, and you don't get enough momentum down the front straightaway to make it worth it. But Meyer is committed up there in 3 and 4. Caleb Mitchell trying to work his way back through the field.
Yeah, Kalen working his way up to the top 5 right now. One of the faster cars on the racetrack at the moment. Actually, last time by was, I do believe, a little bit faster than Keegan Sabilo. So watch out for the 67. Could this be the race the 67 gets it done? Maybe if a yellow or something gives him some track position. I think watch out for that 67. I think our producer might have been on to something.
Yeah, Kalen has improved a whole heck of a lot. I don't know what in the world has gotten into that man, but I haven't seen that heavy of improvement for a hot minute. I mean, last year he was good, but he was like French top 10, normal. Like you'd see him in the top 10, pretty good. This year he's challenging up into the top 5 every single race. Last week at Nashville, he was in the top 5 the entire race. Like he is bringing just about race winning speed week in, week out. And like you said, he's the fastest car on the racetrack whenever he's not fighting. Currently though, stuck in a battle for 5th.
Yeah, that's the thing that's slowing these guys down so much. It's just having the battle. You can see he just got really loose on the exit of turn number 2 as he fights side by side with the 10. It just seems like it's impossible right now to pass. And you're just skating around here, and, you know, you really are out of your comfort zone. I don't think anybody out here on this racetrack is comfortable right now. So the driver that, you know, is kind of comfortable being uncomfortable is the one I think that's going to do well here tonight.
Yeah, you're uncomfortable around this whole racetrack. Just ask James Harris, who is ripping the fence through 1 and 2. He has ran all over this place. Every single line out here that you could think of, James Harris has been on it. I mean, he has just tried and tried and tried everywhere. And with those tires wearing, he's kind of relegated to the top side of the racetrack, running higher than anybody else in the field. And
it seems like it's working out for him. Even though, you know, he's not the fastest car on the track, he still has been maintaining, and but I love to see that, where these guys are having to search for grip. You don't really see that in a lot of iRacing races. I really like what iRacing has been doing here. It just makes it seem like these guys are almost at Legacy Atlanta or something like that.
I wish.
Speaking of that, you wish? I think that's next week, if I'm not mistaken. We're going there.
Holy cow, man! They are feeding me this week. That's amazing. Legacy Atlanta next week? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
I know I'm the announcer and I should know this, but that's great news to me.
Last time by, though, Keegan Sabilo, fastest car on the track. He has caught Carter Casey as he's still been running that bottom side. So very fast laps here from Keegan. He was, I do believe, about a tenth and a half faster than Casey last time by. So quickly catching Casey. But unfortunately, you got to deal with that clean air. The closer you get to that car ahead, the worse it's going to get.
Oh, Nathan Meyer almost wrecked it out of turn 4. He's way high on the front straightaway, coming back down. Well, there goes that cap. Meyer's been the one that has been struggling the most. He's somehow getting laps that are equal or just a little bit faster every now and again than the two behind him, but then he makes big errors and gives a good tenth and a half, 2 tenths back on a handful of laps, and that has allowed these guys to claw in. That was the biggest mistake out of 4 that time, and those pit stops are coming up. There's nobody happier to get down pit road than Nathan Meyer as he is being hounded by Casey and Sabilo.
Yeah, it just seems like, being out front. We talk about clean air being king. I mean, that was one of the keys to the race. I don't know if it is. I think it really is a problem to be in clean air because it seems like it makes the truck turn too good. These guys are not having a problem with turning. I tell you that right now.
Well, and you were mentioning earlier Sabilo running the bottom side of the racetrack as he gets down to the inside of Casey, trying to hold it before we get down to turn 3. He stayed down there way longer than I expected. In our little debrief, I said he should probably move up there around like lap 20. He just stayed committed down to the bottom, and it's worked out good for him. I think Casey's been quick on the top, and maybe that's prevented the 77 from going up there because of, like you said, the dirty air. But he's been committed to the bottom this entire run, and it is coming in handy for the 77 because he's rotating the bottom through 1 and 2 so good. He's even going to have the dirty air here, but he's going to have to run over Carter Casey, try to side draft him down the back and make the move into 3.
I think a lot of what maybe is helping, Sabilo, a lot of times on that bottom, correct me if I'm wrong, you wear the fronts more than the rears.
Yes.
So I think that is kind of what is helping him as he moves to the top. So I don't know. I mean, I think that could have something to do with it. It's kind of keeping his tires a little bit more balanced than the other drivers. So I don't know. There's definitely something to that. But it looks like he's going to rip the fence in 1 and 2.
Yeah, the problem is if you split the run before the pit stop, then you can move up to the top and evenly wear the front and the rear over the course of the entire run. Here, he's run the bottom for so long, I'm worried that he's run off the right front just a little bit too much, but we're going to be 3 wide coming down into turn number 3 for the race lead. My worries might be for nothing as the 77's going through on the bottom. Nathan Meyer's pitting from the top. Your race leader coming down pit road, sliding it down. Oh, big mistake from the 24. He's going to spin on pit road. No yellow flag is going to fly as we're still side by side for the race lead coming down to turn 1.
And one of the keys was be careful on pit road entry, and it clearly that was an accurate key because, wow, he just spun it on the entry to pit road, our reigning champion. Will anybody else do that? I think that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. This could change the race. Can anybody make it to pit road without spinning out? We're watching Keegan Sabilo come to pit road.
Well, this is the one thing we didn't talk about. Oh, he might have sped on pit road. That was a little close for the 77. Gonna have to wait and see if he got a penalty hold on that. I think he might be okay. But, man, the green flag pit stops here, you said it in the pre-race. They're going to be difficult, and we just saw Nathan Meyer, like you said, the champion, the guy that won half of the races last season, spin it out, coming down to pit road, something you expect to be so easy. But that time, for your reigning champion, he spun it out. Carter Casey this time through 3 and 4. You got to think he's going to be pitting. His main competitor, well, one of them just spun himself out, and the other now puts himself on a tire disadvantage to you. And Casey is going to come down and take that 1 lap advantage over the 77.
Nice pit, nice entry for the 8-2. That was really smooth. I think that he was able to really accomplish what he needed to do. James Harris still out on the racetrack at the moment, going to try to see if he could possibly get the tire advantage. I don't think he can pit because he's being attacked by the 10. But it looks like he's going to go to the bottom. I think here he comes.
Yeah, he's telegraphing it this time. The thing for Harris, I'm surprised he wasn't one of the first ones to come down pit road. He was the one struggling the most on this set of tires. You would think maybe he'd come down a little earlier. Maybe he's thinking, I need the tire advantage. I need to stay out a lap or 2 later than the leaders to give myself a chance. That might be what we're seeing from that Champion Power Equipment number 55.
Yeah, it looks like he was fairly clean getting into pit road there. As Cody Hemingway is still out on the racetrack now. Cody was really good on the long run, so we'll see if he's able to make this advantage work as well. I mean, we usually would take races like this to where tire wear is so great. Overcut is not a bad strategy at all, because if you have newer tires later in this race, you're going to pass guys like they're not moving.
So I agree with you 100%. But the other side of that is we were talking about how heavy the tire degradation was. Keegan Sabilo pitted 1 lap before Carter Casey, and we thought Casey had a better pit entry. A cleaner one. Oh, no, the yellow flag is out. Keegan Sabilo still on the lead lap. Carter Casey's your first car 1 lap down. Everybody else that is pitted is trapped a lap down and is going to have to take the waiver round.
That is John Lucido, I do believe, in the 73 that has had issues on the racetrack. He just gets loose. Oh, no. Andrew Hale comes up, and I think the 73 did get loose, but I'm pretty sure the 4 was on newer tires.
I think the 73 was pitting.
That very well could be the case. Maybe we can look on board here and see exactly what was going on in the.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
yeah. Clearly, he was coming to pit road, and
it's Quinn Half. It's Quinn Half.
That's unfortunate, right there. For
I know you hate hearing that.
That's unfortunate for the 4.
Well, that gives us a good time to send this thing to commercial. We're going to get the running order sorted on the other side, see what the tire situation's looking like, and, well, we'll see you then.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series. We've just had our first caution of the evening. during green flag pit stops, no less, and that puts Keegan Sabilo up in the race lead. Unfortunately for him, he does have a little bit older tires, so he does have to. He starts at the front, but he's gonna have a little bit older tires than all the guys that came down pit road that were still on the lead lap, that hadn't come down during the green flag pit stops. So Keegan Sabilo might be a sitting up. He just might have gotten screwed by the strategy. Him, James Harris, both of them, and Kalen Mitchell further back. He got trapped a lap down. Carter Casey, who was up front, now he was trapped a lap down. One of them got the lucky dog. One got the wave around. So they're back on the lead lap, but they're on a tire disadvantage and at the back of the pack. So the entire complexion of this race is about to change.
Yeah, this is going to be crazy. I mean, Tyler Meeks is kind of on the newest tires at the moment up here.
He was the guy sliding. Time and time again, out of turn 4, he hung on to it, and he might be in the best place, sitting there in that third place spot. But we're coming down to the restart again. Mac Tools on the bottom, Champion Power Equipment on the top. And Keegan Sabilo is going to jump ahead on the restart inside line with the advantage. Sabilo dipping down to the apron, coming down to turn number 1. As the field fans out too wide, coming down into turn number 1, side by side for second place. Tyler Meeks is pushing, trying to use those newer tires to his advantage and get to the inside of James Harris. He's not going to be able to do it coming off of turn number 2. He settles back in line. Your top 4 single file, side by side for pit.
Yeah, this is going to be drastically different on the tires. A lot of guys, even 5-lap difference in tires is quite a big amount at this racetrack, it seems to be. As we're looking further back, I think I see Kalen Mitchell starting to work his way through the field, getting past Brian High. As High is going to try to challenge back on the outside. Harris, though, all over the back of the 55.
If we stay green,
Or the
I expect the
77.
pit stops. Sorry, I expect the pit stops to start about 78 to 82. That's about what we're looking for the green flag pit cycle. And this race is looking rather green. Up towards the front, they're still racing hard, trying to get that clean air. The little bit older tires not showing their hand just yet. I'd be a little bit worried, though. They do have a good bit of life in them for the first couple laps, but once you get to about 10 on them, you might be worried. But James Harris, he's looking for the clean air, trying to save the tires even better by putting himself up front. Keegan Sabilo gives it to him on the outside. Harris is going to slide across his nose. Sabilo with the undercut, coming back off the corner.
Yeah, I think Keegan just cannot afford to run that higher side. He's got to get to the bottom here. This is what has been his strength all race long. Tyler Meeks, of course, under fire from the 10 of Cody Hemway. Barletta, yeah, just like you were getting ready to say, just plowed into the outside wall.
You're going to see that time and time again. People pushing too hard through 4. Tyler Meeks all over the back bumper of Sabilo for second. He's got the newer tires. He pushes the 77 up out of the groove, trying to get to the inside, not able to do it. Might have just been a little bit of aero push off the front end of the 7. It almost looked like they made contact the way that the 77 just drove up off the corner, but he hangs on to the spot. Nobody finds the wall, and Barletta, who just found the wall, is trying to find 4th, coming out of 4.
Yeah, Barletta's got some speed. It didn't seem like that hit on the wall slowed him down very much. Of course, you see the 10 trying to hold off Barletta. I think Cody maybe on a little bit, older tires. Barletta seems like he's a little bit fresher at the moment. One driver's been driving through the field. Kalen Mitchell up to 7th now.
I think James Harris is on pretty new tires too. I gotta say, he might have been on pit road or it only had a lap on his tires whenever he actually came out, whenever the caution flag flew. So Harris might be sitting pretty. He has a couple lap newer tires than Sabilo right behind him. And I think if he put any heat in those tires before the caution, it was super minimal because that 55 is flying up front.
Yeah, definitely looks like he's got some speed right now. If he could just try to maintain, I definitely would not be trying to do anything crazy. I would just maintain that gap, kind of run that bottom. And Harris, even though in that last run, he seemed like he drove it really hard on the short run and probably paid the price a little bit later in the run, it seemed like he actually did okay later in the run, though. So we'll have to wait and see. Can he maintain this gap here? As we see side by side, Barletta attacking for 3rd.
Oh, that's going to help Sabilo out a little bit. Them getting side by side could slow both of them down. Sabilo able to hang on for 2nd. Like you said, for James Harris, you just don't want to do anything too crazy. You don't want to pull out to a 2nd lead. That's how you burn up your tires. That's how you let these newer guys come through, like Barletta, who's put on new tires and flown up towards the front. He's to the outside of Sabilo for 2nd after he took 3rd from Tyler Meeks. I mean, he took it so quick from Meeks that I couldn't believe he got to the outside of the 77 so quick, and he's through to 2nd.
Yeah, Barletta is driving the wheels off that race car right now. Last time by, he was a 10th faster than James Harris. And I think he's going to take the lead. If I was in Harris's shoes, I'd just let him go. I mean, it seems like he's got a little bit fresher tires than me, and I think he's actually hurting his equipment more as well. I don't think the 81's treating those tires very nicely.
I agree with you 100%. Meeks found the apron through 3 and 4, thought he was going to wreck it coming through the corner. But like you said for Barletta, I know he's got the newer tires, but they're not that much newer, and you really do not want to burn them up. If you drive them too hard, even if they're a little bit newer, you're going to be hurting more in the end of the run. But he's going up for the race lead right now. He's trying to take it quick, trying to put himself into that clean air and trying to prove me wrong. Just might be a little bit too early to be pushing those things as hard as he is.
And if I was in James's shoes, Harris, I really wouldn't challenge him that much. I just kind of would, if I know that he's burning him up, I just kind of would run in his draft, just kind of hang out, try to conserve myself for the later run. I mean, we're still going to have to do a green flag pit stop if it stays green. He's in good position right now. Of course, Keegan, even though he's on a little bit older tires than everybody, he's hanging on pretty well, but he is being pressured by Tyler Meeks at the moment as you look off the back end of this race car.
He's hoping and praying for a caution so that everybody comes down and puts on tires and he gets to hang on to his track position. But right now, Meeks is trying to take that track position away. What a run he got coming out of turn number 4.
Yeah.
Get to the right rear. Not often you see somebody get to the right rear like that after he ran the same line. Meeks able to do it, coming off of 4 and trying to take that spot. The outside line, I'd say, is the passing line. And Sabilo still on those older tires, just trying to hang on. He falls back to 4th. And that 10 is trying to take that spot from him. So Sabilo might just barely be hanging on to the top 5 before long, unless the yellow flag flies.
Ooh.
As we look at Tidwell wrecking a little bit earlier. I hate that we do not have the cutaway.
Yeah. That was Blake Tidwell, fortunately having some issues there. So we were able to have at least a replay of that. I mean, I had the same thought as you did. I thought it was like, uh-oh, we're getting ready to have a caution.
Sabilo wanted it. Sabilo needed that caution. Not going to get it yet.
Yeah.
Barletta still hanging on to the race lead. 0.2 of a second, 0.3 of a second. Well, heck, he's curling that out even more. Well, this is live. Thacker through the grass on the back straightaway.
Yeah, Brad Thacker definitely having some struggles. Brad had a pretty good finish last week, I do believe, at Nashville Super Speedway, but it looks like he's struggling here at Chicago as he's coming off of, I do believe this is turn number 2, and he gets up into the outside wall and takes a quick ride through the grass, gives us a little bit of some free grass cutting out here at Chicago.
Thank goodness he's got so much runoff room down there. That wouldn't have been nice if it was Gateway. Coming out of 2 at Gateway, he would have been dead and gone. But luckily there for Thacker, able to hang on to it. Little skirt through the dirt, and he's fine and dandy, able to hang on.
Carter Casey, as we see the 8 machine trying to work his way back into contention. Of course, he was one of the drivers that was up towards the front, but that caution earlier kind of really hurt him quite a bit. He is on somewhat newer tires, but he's having to battle in traffic here. You see Ryan Jalen, of course, in that 8th place position trying to hold him off.
Casey's actually on some of the older tires in the field.
Is he?
He's only got 1 lap fresher tires than Sabilo. So he's moving through some guys that have taken tires, which is really impressive from that number 8. Just goes to show that qualifying run and that first run of the race were no flukes. I mean, that number 8 is quick tonight, trying to move himself back up to the front, and he's kind of like Sabilo. He's hoping for a caution just so that he can get on even tires and be back in the fight.
Yeah. See, I thought he was on because I remember he was one of the later drivers to pit under that green flag condition. So that's surprising that he is on some older tires. But, yeah, I'm looking at the numbers here, and it does seem that is the case. As Harley Barletta out to a half a second lead. James Harris now trying to fight off Tyler Meeks. Meeks is crazy fast right now. He's about 0.2 faster than Harris last time by. But I think that dirty air he's being fed is starting to slow him down.
Well, and the problem for him, too, is he was stuck in the Keegan Sabilo dirty air for so long, too. So any bit of tire that he could have saved from getting past Sabilo quick, he couldn't do it. And he had to burn him up a little bit getting behind him. So he's just not able to use that tire advantage to the maximum right now. But I do think we're starting to see it a little bit. He's starting to catch up to Harris. He's starting to be faster than Barletta, who drove it really hard at the beginning. So I expect Tyler Meeks to come through to the race lead here in a couple laps. He's looking the quickest out of the top 3.
Possibly. I'm looking at this battle right behind Keegan Sabilo. We see the 10, of course, with Cody Hemingway. George Young, who is in 6th place. But look at who's in this battle right now. Andrew Hale, he is a lap down and looking like he's trying to unlap himself the hard way. He's actually pretty quick. running that top line. If we recall, he was the one, I do believe, that got into John Lucido when Lucido was coming down the pit road, and that caused the yellow.
Yeah, he's able to get that one free repair that you get during the race, and, well, he's made the most of it coming through the field. So you know if he gets back on the lead lap, he's going to be quick. And if that caution flag flies, what's unfortunate for him is James Loveland is in front of him. That's why he's racing so hard. Loveland's been flying through the pack just as fast as Andrew Hale.
That's a good point. Yeah, Loveland trying as well to get that lap back. And Loveland, I got to say, has been looking fantastic here as of late. I mean, was in contention to win a race, I do believe, recently.
Last week at Nashville, man, he should have won it that last caution. Or not the last caution, but if the one caution that broke up the last long green flag run. If that doesn't come out, he wins that thing handedly. I mean, I really thought Loveland had it locked up, and he just got a bad case of bad luck at the end of that one. And he's, backing it up with a good pace here. He's in the lucky dog spot. I think he was one of those that got screwed on that green flag pit stop.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, Loveland could have easily gotten his first win of the season, or should I say of his career in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. But unfortunately, that just did not seem to work out. Of course, James Harris trying to hold off Tyler Meeks. Meeks right there, and we see a lot of other action on the racetrack as well. I mean, there is just everywhere you look, there's something going on.
Yeah, Meeks trying to get to the outside of the Champion Power Equipment truck. They're coming down to the turn number 3 and 4 for the second place position. And as that Champion Power Equipment truck battles it out for second, I'm going to tell you a little bit about CPE. This broadcast this broadcast is brought to you by Champion Power Equipment. Since 2003, CPE has earned a reputation for designing and producing the market's finest power equipment. With over 4.5 million generators sold in North America, Champion has decades of experience providing dependable and durable power products designed and engineered in the United States for the North American and world markets. Visit us at championpowerequipment.com for more information. Champion Power Equipment, powering your life. Big thank you to Champion Power Equipment for sponsoring the series here every single week, every single Tuesday, allowing us to come out here and put on a hell of a show. And, well, the drivers are doing that here today. I couldn't tell you who's going to win this one. The Champion Power Equipment series has a ridiculous amount of parity. You can't figure out who's going to win week in, week out. Last season, honestly, was an anomaly. And I know James Harris has won both the first 2 races this season, but we didn't think that Harris should have won at Nashville, and he still squeaked it out. So it's a little bit of a jackpot every time that we come racing around this place.
Yeah, 100%. No, I totally agree. One thing I would like to point out right now is Keegan, he's on older tires than a lot of the guys around him. He's actually faster than everybody around him at the moment. It seems like he has got this long run just figured out as he's starting to run down Tyler Meeks. He's got about a half a second to get up there.
Oh!
As soon as I talk about him, there he is, a little bit of a loose condition. I think Cody Hemingway took a little bit of the air, I should say, off of the rear spoiler. And I think that kind of got him a little bit loose, but that's going to definitely take a little bit of that momentum away. But really, it actually didn't hurt him too bad. He's still about a half a second behind Meeks.
I think a big part of this is because Hemingway is not trying to pass him. It looks like they're working together, pushing themselves both up to the front. They're gaining a ton of time down the front straightaway, even down the back. Whenever Sabilo made the issue, or had the issue coming out of 2, the 10 just tucked right up behind his bumper and pushed him down the back stretch. I think these guys are working together and getting themselves back into the fray, even though Sabilo's got the older tires.
I love that too. I mean, that just shows, I got to say, a lot of that's some wise stuff right there. I mean,
that's racecraft, man. That's A+ racecraft from the driver of the 10. I mean, don't get me wrong. They might be in the same chat talking over strategy and helping each other. I don't know if they're teammates or not. I don't believe so. But for Hemingway, being behind him to say, okay, I'm just going to take 5th right now and sit here, but push him up to the race leaders, that is excellent racecraft, and I love seeing it out of these guys week in, week out. I mean, that's a super smart decision. They've cut the lead down to 0.7 of a second for Sabilo. They were a second and a half back just a couple laps ago.
Meeks.
Oh, Tyler Meeks!
Woo, that was close. Man, what a save.
Oh, he's had 3 of those.
He's going to lose some positions, though, and he's going to fall back into, I do believe, 5th place. You see Loveland. He is not for position right now.
No.
Loveland is the lucky dog.
That's 7
Loveland
still
into
sideways,
the wall.
man. Oh, man. Tyler Meeks is just having a handful of that truck. or that truck is a handful here tonight after about 20 laps for him. Someone that it's not for so far has been Sabilo, who has driven up to the race leaders. They're side by side for the race lead right in front of them. James Harris challenging Barletta down the front straightaway. Can the 55 get it done? Coming down to the turn 1. The 81 has started the struggle. The 55, 77, and 10, they're all coming alive.
Yeah, this is starting to turn into a race for the lead as the 81 runs on that bottom. Oh, you see a lot of wiggling going on. We have gotten to that point to where these guys are skating around this racetrack, and this is when the 77 was at his best as he follows in the tire track. So the 55, Barletta coming to pit road, green flag stop.
I was just about to say we're coming up on those pit stops. I said 78 to 82. Barletta deciding to come down a little bit early. I think this might be a little bit too early, but he'll have a huge advantage coming out of pit road after these front runners pit. If this thing stays green, he will be seconds out in front of Sabilo and Harris. And if the caution flag flies while he's still out there, well, congratulations, you get to come down pit road and take 4 more tires and stay in the race lead. So I like the strategy call from Barletta, giving him a chance here late.
Yeah, I got to tell you one driver I'm very, very impressed with. I know we got a race kind of going on for the lead. Looks like George Young. Look at George Young. I mean, we don't ever expect to see George Young up in the top 5, but he is one of the fastest cars on the track right now. Last time by, I think he was one of the fastest. Up in 4th right now. I mean, he's got a solid top 5 in his future if he keeps this up and he's able to nail pit stops.
Oh, side by side for second. Sabilo might be coming down pit road way down the racetrack, and honestly, kind of giving the second place to the 10 car. It almost looks like he's running a little bit too low unless he's coming down pit road. Coming out of 4, he is slowing that thing down, getting down to the apron. Early pit stop from the 77, rolling it in deep. Woo! I think he got that thing slowed down. He's trying to get everything he can coming down pit road.
And here comes Kalen Mitchell. Clearly, these drivers are on the same strategy. They're trying to do the same thing here. This is a little early,
All three of them. Mac Tools, DeWalt, and the Irwin machine all coming down pit road at the same time. You can tell they're in a voice call, giving each other calls, trying to help each other out, get on the same strategy. And heck, we're just going to have to wait and see if it works out. The 2 race leaders, though, look at the 10. We were talking about the 10. What a move he did just to sit behind Sabilo, now challenging for the race lead, but instead he comes down pit road. Oh, don't ruin it with a slide. Oh, he got it mowed down, able to get down to pit road speed. Ends up probably being a really, really efficient pit road entry, even though it looked scary as heck.
Yeah, that looked terrifying, to be honest with you. I thought they were going to need a Black & Decker to fix that race truck, but it looks like he's going to be fine as he gets into his pit stall. And, yeah, no, he looks quick. He's really good on the entire run. He was challenging James Harris there. I think the 10 could be a contender for the win here tonight. And I don't recall seeing a whole lot of the 10, so this could be his first win. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you would have to be right. Lacido all over the back bumper of Sabilo coming out of 4. Sabilo's trying to get up to speed. Carter Casey coming down pit road. So that last cycle of green flag pit stops, it's happening. It's starting. We're starting to get into the nitty gritty. The only time we're coming down pit road again is if we get a caution flag after these guys all cycle through. Just about how fast can these guys get through the field? I think Sabilo might have a little bit more help from Lacido here. Lacido bumping them down the back straightaway. Both of them getting past the slow car of Andrew Hale. Older tires, just tough for the 4 to hang on. But just look at the tire difference, man. Look at how much they pull from them, and that's just through one corner. They started that corner behind them.
Yeah, remember, though, when we started that cycle last run, that's when the yellow flag came out. So let's be careful on what's going to happen out here, fellas. It's like the 19, John Legger coming down. I think we're
coming out of turn number 2, Harley Barletta has junked it. I cannot believe a yellow flag has not come out. It almost destroyed Keegan Sabilo and John Lacido.
Take a look at this replay. See exactly what happened here with Barletta. Looks like he just gets really loose on the exit of 2.
Oh.
Almost comes. Ooh, wow. I am shocked that was not a yellow. I'm shocked that Keegan Sabilo is still driving that race car. What? I wouldn't mind looking at the eyes of Keegan as he got through that. I mean, he had to do some amazing evasive maneuvers.
That would have been the second time in a row that Keegan would have got screwed out of the pit stop strategy from an errant yellow. Luckily avoids it that time as his main competitor, James Harris, coming down pit road. He's going to have 4-lap fresher tires than Sabilo. 5-lap fresher tires whenever it's all said and done. Sabilo, Lacido just about turned Sabilo as we go to replay.
Look at how close that was. Wow. thank you to our producer for, of course, providing those awesome camera angles to watch through the cockpit, the eyes of Keegan Sabilo.
Heck yeah.
As that happened. James Harris on pit road right now. George Young up front. He's going to be coming to pit road.
I think Tyler Meeks might have had an issue somewhere. He is way down the running order. He's come down pit road, obviously, but further down than he should be. And he put an F in the chat. Probably paying
Could be
respects to his
possibly a
pit race.
penalty.
That's what I'm trying to get a look at it, but I don't see him speeding down pit road. And he hasn't lost a huge amount of time. Oh, he did have a pass through. He sped on exit the time before. That's what it was.
Oh no, had to come back down pit road. That's a costly mistake.
Well, now that the last round of green flag pit stops has cycled out, we've kind of got an idea of our race for the lead. We're going to jump to our final commercial break of the racing action. Whenever we come back, we got the last 20 laps for you, commercial free, and it's going to be a heck of a final 20.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series. We're coming down to the end of this thing. 22 laps to go. Your leader, Cody Hemingway, after the pit stops. But the problem for Cody, James Harris is flying. He's got 5 flat pressure tires than the rest of your leaders, and he is making use at him. He was 5 seconds back not too long ago. He's cut it to under a second. That 55 is flying.
Yeah, definitely looking really good right now, and I'm hoping he's not burning the equipment up a little bit too much. Last time by, he was about 2/10 faster than Hemingway. He's 7/10 back from Hemingway right now. He just got by Keegan and Mitchell, or Kalen Mitchell, I should say, for 3rd and 4th. So James definitely moving through this field at the moment and seems to have the strategy nailed with 20 to go.
Yeah, it's not stalling out. He's still making up ground, but it is starting to shrink ever so slightly, the amount of ground he's making up lap after lap. But you probably attribute that to the dirty air that he's starting to feel off of the 10 truck in front of him. Sabilo entering just a little bit narrower, trying to find some clean air down on the bottom of the racetrack. The 10 not getting all the way down to the white line, allowing the 55 to find a little bit of air hitting his left front fender. That helps that truck rotate through the center of the corner, and the 55 is finding it right now, and he's making it work.
I think you're right. It could be some dirty air, and I think it also could be that Harris is like, let me back it down and kind of save a little bit. I mean, if I'm on 5-lap newer tires, I don't need to try so hard. Otherwise, you make a mistake and you do that. Don't slide the rear tires. I mean, that's not something you want to do. That was one of the keys to the race here tonight, and I think the 55 probably knows that. 5 laps difference is quite a bit.
I got to be honest, and I'm cheering for Cody Hemingway because it would be cool to see him up here and get a great finish, but he pushed really hard at the beginning of the stint. He's only got 1 lap fresher tires than Sabilo and Mitchell behind him. I want to say he's going to be finishing 4th behind both of those guys as James Harris is taking the race lead, coming to 18 to go. The 55 looking to the inside, and with those fresher tires, he's going to get it done easily. Coming down to turn number 1 to 10, tries to fight it back on the outside, driving in as deep as he can, try to keep the throttle in it, but it's not going to be enough as the 55 has the grip, has the power on the bottom side of the racetrack, and that champion power equipment number 55 comes to the race lead.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna have to do some testing on his trucks, because I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, the first 2 races of the season, and now here we are in the 3rd. I mean, James is looking like he's just got it all together. I'm wondering what is going on. We got some people in the comments. Harris, yeah, love. So definitely some excitement being generated for James Harris. And I got to say, I'm right there with you. I'm in the James Harris fan club at the moment. I mean, it just seems like ever since he started this season, it's a different James Harris. It's a different one. I mean, last season, of course, I think he won like 1 race or something like that, and he was able to break that cold streak or that that winless streak. But this season, he's a championship favorite right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to put him up at the top of the list, and it's super impressive. And what's even more impressive to me is that I feel like he's won all 3 races on a little bit of different circumstances or different ways, right? The first race, I felt like he was just one of the quickest guys. He found himself to the front of the field, was quick. He just won that race flat out. The second one at Nashville last week, I don't think he was the quickest guy, but the cautions fell his way. He worked himself back through the field and ended up winning that thing. And this week, he did it purely on strategy if he comes through to win this, because Harris was not the fastest car on the long run by any means. I'll be the first one to tell him that whenever I interview him later. I'll tell him straight up, he was not the quickest guy on the long run, but he made the strategy work. He ran that tire a little bit longer so that he would get this huge tire advantage, and it has come into play massive. Oh, Kalen Mitchell through the dirt, down the back straightaway. He's able to hang on to it in 4th, I believe, but he's going to lose 5th, or he's going to lose 4th to Carter Casey.
Yeah, Casey, who was kind of had a little bit of some ups and downs here tonight. Of course, ran up, I think he qualified up in the top 2. Has somehow worked his way back up into 5th. Of course, that caution earlier kind of, in a lot of ways, tied his hand behind his back, but he has prevailed in a lot of ways, or should I say overcome a lot of the obstacles here tonight, and he's now up to 4th, gotten by Kalen Mitchell. I'll tell you another driver. Once again, George Young. I mean, look at this guy. I don't ever expect to see Young in the top 6. I mean, is that sad to say?
Yes.
But I think that he's, look at how great he's doing.
It's what they call a backhanded compliment, but you're not trying to do it. Like, you're not trying
I'm not trying to do it. I'm just saying he's doing great.
You're not trying to be a sarcastic jerk, but you're, like, unintentionally being a sarcastic jerk.
But I think he just is looking so good. I mean, this is not like a fluke. He looks fast.
He has all night. I mean, he's put himself up towards the front of the field in the top. I mean, he was in the top 5 a little bit earlier, running in 6th now, and he's just been that quick. And that's a huge improvement, like you said, from George Young. Like you said, I don't, jokes aside, it is a big improvement from George Young, right? We talked about Caleb Mitchell being a French top 10 guy in the pre-race, and now he's consistently in the top 5. George Young might be the next one to make that step.
I agree, and I think a lot of that comes down to, I mean, I know I've talked to James Harris about this update kind of suiting his driving style. Could possibly that be the case for George Young as well? That this new, the way this truck is kind of handling maybe suits him. And I just do want to say, George Young, if you're watching this broadcast back, I'm not meaning any disrespect at all. I am very happy to see you running well.
You're digging your hole even deeper, buddy.
Oh man, I'm trying to be nice.
Maybe we should stop talking about George Young.
I'm just saying he's doing great. I think it's worth talking about. He's doing good.
I agree. I just love giving your South Carolina self a little bit of a hard time.
10 laps to go here. I do believe coming up. Yeah, 10 laps to go. James Harris still out front, 0.7 of a second on Cody Hemingway. Hemingway has about a 1.7 second gap on Keegan Sabilo.
Hemingway got the fence.
Yeah, it looks like he's definitely starting to struggle quite a bit. You even mentioned it. I think he possibly hurt his tires.
Most of the field's pretty spread out, so I'm not necessarily expecting a yellow, but the way that these guys are wrestling them off the corner every single time, it's not out of the question. I mean, these guys are driving it as hard as they can, lap after lap, even though there's pretty decent gaps between a lot of them. Except for right here, your 4th place battle. Kalen Mitchell getting back by Carter Casey after his slide earlier. It's a pretty big power move from Mitchell, able to get back by him. Casey not willing to settle, though. He's looking back to the inside, trying to get up to 4th. Yeah,
Casey's struggling right now. He's kind of got a little bit loose in a lot of the same ways that Kalen did. And I think, you're kind of talking about these guys driving a little bit harder. I think a lot of that has to do with the temperature of the racetrack right now. 111 is quite a bit cooler than it was earlier. So I think that kind of maybe gives you a little bit more confidence.
You can drive it a little harder, that's for sure. It's not, don't get me wrong, 111 is still pretty toasty for the tires on the asphalt. But it's not as bad as 118, 120 like we were running in at the beginning. So you can push it a little bit harder. And somebody like James Harris, who's got the 5-lap fresher tires, I mean, I still thought with how hard he was pushing it, he was going to fall off a little bit harder. But with the track cooling down a little bit, maybe that's extended the tire life from the 55 ever so slightly.
We got some comments in the chat from Lorraine. Shout out to John and Harley. We definitely appreciate you commenting on Revision's broadcast here. Appreciate your support, and I'm sure the drivers John and Harley appreciate it as well.
Yep, running 11th and 13th, John Thacker and Harley Barletta. Both about solid midfield. So good runs for both those guys. Thacker's trying to fight into the top 10 after he's had, a couple issues tonight. So good recovery from Thacker getting back up to 11th.
Could also have been John Legger. It could have been possibly Legger that Lorraine is referring to. Either way, thanks for your comment.
I guess, or Lucido.
Yeah, it could be Lucido. There's a lot of Johns in here.
Yeah, maybe I spoke too quick. That could have been a lot of different Johns.
100%. I mean, we got the James, we got the Johns, we got everybody. But this battle, though, is still raging for 4th place. They have not let up. These guys are just fighting tooth and nail for this 4th place position. Just crossover.
If there's going to be a yellow, it's probably going to be here, right? I mean, they're running hard for it.
Just tell these guys want the points. I don't know if that's got something to do with it, but it's got to be the case that these guys just want to get these points.
They're just not going to settle it out until the checkered flag. Both of them driving in deep down into turn number 3. Kalen this time trying to hang on to that outside groove, pushing it a little bit through the center of the corner. Casey getting a little twitchy. And that DeWalt truck is going to power through on the outside, hang on to 4th for now. But they've been switching it lap after lap. It's hard to believe that they're not, or it's hard to believe that they're done.
Yeah, it's been some awesome racing between these two drivers. And that's saying something. I mean, to be able to race Casey like that, I mean, I think that just speaks to Kalen's, talent here. I think he's just been doing a great job, and I think a lot of that comes down to Keegan Sabilo as well, probably mentoring this 67. Because, I mean, I've known Carter Casey in the past to be a very, very talented driver. So to say Kalen's going against a driver like that 8, I think that's a huge that's saying something. Because, I mean, Carter, like you even mentioned it before, is good at these kind of tracks.
Yeah, Carter's good at the old worn-out surfaces, and you know, he had a moment earlier, put himself a little bit further back than I think he should have. Well, in that moment was just, you know, the caution flag flying in the middle of the green flag cycle completely ruined his race, derailed it. He had to start in the back after taking the lucky dog, didn't put on tires. So he's just had an uphill battle, right? Coming to 2 to go, and he's fought himself back into the top 5. So it's still a great job from Carter Casey, but it's just what could have been if that yellow flag didn't fly for the driver of the 8.
And here we go, down the back stretch. James Harris getting ready to enter turn number 3 as we get ready to start the white flag lap. Can Harris do it? And there it is.
Second lead over Cody Hemingway. Hemingway's had a great night. He's done a better job hanging onto those tires than I expected. He drove so hard at the beginning of this run. He's able to hang on. The colder temperatures coming into play. James Harris, I mean, what can you really say enough about this guy? 3 races, 3 wins. He saw what Nathan Meyer did last year and said, hold my beer, kid. I'm going to go for a little bit more. He's got a 100% win rate through the first 3 races as he comes out of turn number 4 at the Chicagoland Speedway. And James Harris is a 3-time winner on the season in the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series.
I guess I better keep picking him because apparently I don't know.
It's not broke. Oh, Kalen Mitchell's he out of gas?
Oh, no. Something wrong with Kalen. He is, I think George Young maybe having some issues as well. No,
what?
Looks like Kalen's falling back through. Yeah, it looks like George plummeting maybe as well. Not sure exactly what's going on here, but we're having a little bit of issues with our. Yeah, it looks like some guys kind of plummeting through the field here. I don't know if Kalen ran out of gas. Maybe auto fuel didn't give him enough gas.
George Young and Kalen Mitchell both ran out of gas.
But I'll tell you one driver that didn't. James Harris. Well-deserved burnout here. You got to know that this guy, he's at the top of the world right now.
I would be too if I won 3 in a row. James Harris is feeling it good, burning it down at the Chicagoland Speedway for the 3rd time of the season. We're going to use this opportunity of him burning it down to go to our final commercial break of the evening. It'll be an abbreviated one, so stick with us. We've got 3 interviews coming at you live on the other side. Welcome back to the Champion Power Equipment iRacing Truck Series. We have just finished up the racing action from the Chicagoland Speedway, and James Harris is continuing that win streak. He's put it up on the top step of the podium 3 times in a row. Cody Hemingway finishing up in 2nd. Keegan Sabilo with a good run on the podium in 3rd. Carter Casey finishes in 4th with John Leger in 15th. Jason Taylor 5th. Jason Taylor 6th. Nick Jazbowski in 7th. Ryan Jalek in 8th. George Young in 9th. After running out of gas, had a good run going. John Thacker rounds out your top 10.
Harley Barletta, 11th place. Brian High, 12th. Kalen Mitchell, heartbreaker there. Could have had a top 10. I think should have finished probably in 6th. Finishes in 13th. Garth Schneider, 14th. James Loveland in 15th. Andrew Hale, 16th. Nathan Meyer, our reigning champ, back in 17th. That's unfortunate. John Lucido, 18th. Tyler Meeks, 19th. Stephen Witt, 20th. Blake Tidwell, 21st. Robert Wynn, 22nd. Russ Kilgore, 23rd.
All right, that's going to do it for your full race rundown. And now we're going to jump into our podium interviews. We're going to pull up our third place finisher, Keegan Sabilo. Keegan, it's not what you wanted on the night, but still a good top 3 finish. Did it all just come undone with that, with the pit road strategy there at the end?
Yeah, that's what I was telling the group here after the race. It was my fault. I think we pit too early. I saw Barletta pit there, and I'm like, we got to react or we're going to lose too much time. And yeah, it just was too early. So my fault on that tonight. I felt arguably we were the best truck tonight over the course of the whole race. You know, we were challenged at the beginning, and especially at the end of the long runs, we were really strong there. Yeah, it sucks, but could have been worse, I guess. This is not a good track of mine, so just happy to have a decent run here tonight. And good job on Cody. We had a great team night for all 4 of our Stanley Black & Decker cars tonight, so that's awesome to have. A good team night. I know Kalen, he ran out of fuel there, unfortunately, in the last lap, but besides that, we had them all in the top 8. So can't complain about that.
Yeah, good night for the whole team tonight. And you mentioned you're not the necessarily the mile-and-a-half guru, but you're starting to figure it out a little bit and had a really good run going tonight, battling for the lead whenever y'all started coming down pit road. Coming down to the end of that race, I mean, was there anything you could do with James Harris coming up on y'all with 5-lap fresher tires? Or, I mean, were you really just hoping and praying for a caution?
Not necessarily in the moment was I hoping and praying for a caution. I thought he was just driving hard and he was going to burn through his tires, and I was really backing it down and saving. And apparently it was just saving too much because we were even at the end of the run and lost too much time. But yeah, I thought he was going to burn through his tires and everything was going to end up being okay. But he just had it on point there. I didn't think 5 laps was going to be that much of a difference, but he just had it on point there, and maybe a little bit of too much over saving there on my part as well.
Well, Keegan, still a good top 3 show-in for you here tonight in the 3rd race of the season. Who do you have to thank at the end of this one?
Yeah, first off, thank you to Stanley Black & Decker, Mac Tools on my Chevy truck tonight. We had a good night. Happy to have Mac Tools now on board as my main sponsor. So great to have them. Glad we were able to have a decent showing. But thank you to Stanley Black & Decker, all their brands. We had the Irwin truck with Nick running for a career best 7th tonight, and Cody, and a Stanley Black & Decker truck with Old Raw Brian running up there in 2nd. And then Kalen, and the DeWalt truck was up there in 4th for most of it until he ran out of fuel there, unfortunately, at the end. But yeah, just a shout out to the company, and a shout out to all my teammates who helped make this possible. Thank you to you guys for what you do at Grid Vision, and Champion Power Equipment for putting this league on. Thank you to Sabila Racing Esports, Admin Box, After Hours Restorations, and yeah, we'll see what we got next week. Thank you to Justin as well for all the help, and you as well.
Man, that was the most NASCAR ending to an interview I've ever heard. They give us the stereotypes for all the sponsor plugs. That was right up there. You could be a NASCAR driver just off of that, the ending of the interview there, Keegan.
I'm hoping one day. I'm hoping. That's my goal.
Well, I'm pulling for you. Congratulations on the top 3 tonight. Looking forward to seeing what you can do next week whenever we go racing from Atlanta.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, that was your 3rd place finisher, Keegan Sabilo. Next up, Brian's going to have the opportunity to talk to the 2nd place finisher of Cody Hemingway.
Cody Hemingway, glad to have you up here in the booth. It seemed like you had a really good race car here, very good on the long run. What did you need to get up there to James Harris?
I needed to end about 20 laps sooner. I think I would have had it then. But yeah, he pitted after me and the teammates there, and just had fresher tires from the last green flag run to the finish, and just couldn't compete with no matter what I tried. I tried to get a lead on him to make him try and burn his stuff up more than the rest of the guys, but he sailed right on through and didn't even take any breaths doing it. You know what I mean?
Well, still definitely a really great run for you here tonight. I mean, you seem like you had one of the better cars. I mean, started in 9th, finished in 2nd. What do you think your secret was on the long runs?
Honestly, just listening to my teammates, Keegan Sabilo, Kalen Mitchell, and then Nick Jazerowski. I've actually been away for a month, and I just got home from traveling all day today. I got here and ran 1 qualifying lap, and then from there on, it was just asking the guys like, hey, how do I make this Stanley Black & Decker Chevrolet faster and for the long runs? And they just, coached me through it.
Well, I'll tell you, they did a great job coaching you. I'll tell you that, because, I mean, you just seemed like when the green flag flew, you were right there in the contention, for possibly a win here tonight. And could see you maybe in victory lane here sometime this season. Of course, we're going to be heading to Legacy Atlanta next week, which I think is going to be very similar to what we saw here tonight. Do you think you're going to be able to carry some of that momentum over there?
Yeah, I hope so. I got to get some more laps behind these trucks since they did the update. But yeah, I'm excited for that. That should be a good time.
All right, who can we shout out after your second place finish?
Shout out my wife, daughter, both daughters, and Stanley Black and Decker, and then the teammates again, Keegan, Kaylin, and Nick Jezebowski, and then you guys in the broadcast booth. Thank you.
All right, thanks for your time, Cody. Congratulations on your second place finish.
Thank you.
All righty, that was your second place finisher, Cody Hemingway. Next up, I mean, this is becoming a bit of a habit. James Harris, the final interview of the night, because he has wound up on the top step of the podium for the third time in 3 races. How many times am I going to say that tonight? I can guarantee you it's more than the third time. James Harris, how are you feeling, man? I mean, it's so consistent that I'm talking to you week in, week out.
Well, I'm not going to complain about it, but tonight was a little bit of a shock. I didn't expect to win. I really didn't. I was just going for a top 5 because Nathan is extremely good here, and you know, I had a horrible qualifying run, so I knew I was going to burn my tires up at the beginning just trying to get up there, and I did, and it worked out for us.
Yeah, the last couple races, you know, you've been really quick on the long run. Maybe not the fastest, but you've been really quick. Tonight, maybe the other way around, but you circumvented that with a little bit of strategy on that last pit stop, pitting 5 laps later than Keegan Sabilo. Was the plan coming in to always run later than those guys, or were you just surprised that they came down and pitted when they did, maybe a little bit too early?
I had my pit strategy coming into the race, and I have a habit of getting antsy when people start to pit before me, especially on the tire wearing track like this. But it's a 110 lap race, and I said depending on cautions, I'm going to pit at lap 40, I'm going to pit at lap 80. That way I do 40, 40, and 30. And then my plan was for the 30 lap run, since it's such a loose track, was to take less fuel to tighten the car up. So when these guys are pitting at lap like 30, you know, with 36 to go, 35 to go, I stayed disciplined, and I'm very proud of myself. I said I'm gonna come in with 30, 31 to go. I'm gonna take less fuel, and it did not even start getting loose on me till about 5 to go. So it ended up working out in my favor. I had the fresh tires, and I ran kind of hard when I first come out because just to gain some speed on Keegan, and the less fuel really helped me there with my balance in the last run.
Well, James, we've talked a lot about Nathan Meyer's 6-win season last year, and I didn't want to say too much about it last week because, you know, 2 races, whatever. Everybody can win 2 races in a row. But you're really making a statement whenever you make it 3, and we start questioning up in the broadcast booth whether you can break that number that Nathan Meyer just set last season. Is that the goal? Is that what you're aiming for at this point, or is the sky the limit?
I did tell you guys either last week or the week before that I'm practicing my butt off because I'm tired of finishing third of those guys. So, I mean, who knows? I'm going to keep this practice schedule up every week. And looking at the schedule now, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 tracks that I consider myself really good at. And then, so we'll see, man. But we're going to put the work in. And who knows? I mean, we only got 2 more to catch him, right? Did he win 5 or 6?
6.
6. Oh, so we're halfway there. We still got 9 races to go. So, I mean, we got time to do it, but still anything can happen, you know.
You're certainly setting yourself up nicely for the final 9 races of this, and building up a very nice lead in the championship standings, I imagine. Well, James, who do you have to thank at the end of this one, now that you've put it up on the top step 3 times in a row?
So real quick, I got to tell you a quick little story real quick. So my wife comes in here before the race. She has the broadcast on her phone, and she shows me the picks. And she said, my boy Brian said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I told her, I said, I don't know why he's picking me. There ain't no way I'm going to win tonight. So...
Oh, man.
Props to my boy Brian for sticking with me here. But I'm gonna thank my.
You're 3 for 3 and he's 3 for 3. I'm getting a little frustrated up in the booth.
I know it's worked out.
You're giving Brian a big head. I can't handle it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But let me thank my wife Courtney for all the support. Hey Cooper, hold on just a second, homie. Thank my son Cooper. He's coming in here to say goodnight. Kevin Kirscher, Blackstone Management. You want to say hi real quick? Okay, real quick.
Hi.
Okay. Kevin Kirscher, Blackstone Management, Champion Power Equipment, Green Mountain Grills, Curb Records, Allegiant, and we're on a roll this season, and we're going to try to keep her going, boys.
Well, James, it's been a heck of a start to the season, and we're going to be looking forward to seeing if you can keep it going. I'm sure Brian Britt is going to be picking you in the pre-race next week. I can just about guarantee that. If it
works
ain't
for
broke,
me.
Don't fix it.
Don't fix it. There you go.
James, congratulations. Looking forward to seeing if you can make it 4 in a row whenever we go racing next week at Atlanta.
All right, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, that was your race winner, James Harris. It's starting to become less and less surprising every time that we see him win a race. I got to say that. Brian, what do you think, man? I mean, I mentioned you getting a big head. To be fair, you haven't rubbed it in my face. So I was maybe being a little facetious there, but to be fair, you might have every right to do it because you are 3 for 3.
No, I wouldn't do that. But I mean, it's so cool to see him in victory lane and just to see the difference in last season to this season. I think it's a big confidence thing. And he did tell me before this update that, or after the update, he's like, this truck fits me. This truck fits my driving style. And clearly he knew what he was talking about. So just great job to James Harris. I don't know. I'm going to pick him next week, but I got to be honest. I think there's going to be somebody that's going to be gunning for him. I think there's going to be a target on his back with 3 for 3.
The whole field will be gunning for him now that he's won 3 in a row. Looking at the week ahead, Wednesday, Nashville Super Speedway Thunderclap iRacing Series. Thursday, Watkins Glen. That's the High Slide Racing League at 8:20 p.m. Eastern. And then Friday, back at the Nashville Super Speedway for some Ryko Performance Friday night NIS Top Split. From the entire Grid Vision team, we'd like to thank you for watching and participating in the chat. For more information on getting your league broadcasted or starting your career in broadcasting, contact us on Facebook, X, or email us at info@gridvision.live. Congratulations to James Harris on winning tonight's race from the Chicagoland Speedway. This has been Austin Edstrom standing alongside Brian Britt and Austin Derbyshire in the production booth. We will see you next time on The Grid.